fellow RPGers, I've had people ask me to do some more game sessions, so I thought this would be kind of fun. Now, this is unlike most of my other stuff where I use a lot of terrain and miniatures. I'm using hardly anything at all as far as this game goes. So I just wanted to warn you ahead of time before you start watching these. But this is kind of an RPG mashup, actually. It's got the Dungeon World rule set on one hand, and then the EVERNIGHT module on the other, so I'm going to combine the two for the game. So we did have a lot of fun. I set the camera up so it just gets everybody in the shot, one shot more or less, because I really didn't have to worry about the terrain and that kind of thing. So you can see what kind of quirkiness and goofiness goes on at my table. But I thought this was kind of fun, these two things combined together. Also, this is the first session. They're kind of introducing their characters, and we have had one session before this, and I do introduce what happened in that session in this video. So let's go to the table, and you can see some fun quirkiness at DM Scotty's table.
First, let's reintroduce our characters since we've been a while. So
I can barely remember.
yeah, so I figure. So who wants to start?
They can start.
Okay. Why don't you guys, Susan?
Go, Susan.
I am Ella Loomis. I am a medic. I have piercing eyes, unkempt hair. I'm wearing sterile gloves, a blood-stained apron, and a plague mask. And I have a morbid demeanor. I am the healer.
Are you human?
I don't know. I don't think anybody knows
That is
what
the
I
question.
am.
Are you allowed to not know what you are? You're in transition between races?
Well, it's not specified.
Huh.
So you belong to a secret order, right?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Usually people don't announce that kind of stuff, do they?
Yeah.
Well, just because we're saying it doesn't mean the character would know it. It's just so that we
Did
know.
not note that.
Okay. Do you want to be that?
I'm kind of a loner.
Okay. So you're more like a loner.
Yes.
Okay.
But I am good.
Okay. So why do you wear the mask?
Hmm?
Well, besides the obvious reason of keeping.
Because I have a morbid demeanor.
Okay.
I just want to maintain an aura of mystery.
Okay.
Did you get it a hot topic?
All right, Crispus, tell us about your elven self.
Crispin?
Crispin.
I am Crispin Rainberry. I am a neutral elf druid. I have braided hair and I have golden eyes like an owl. And I'm wearing leather.
So when she changes to different animal forms, she'll still have those golden, like owl eyes that reflect the light and everything. So
Nice.
that's kind of her tell. That's how you'll know that's her. If
Unless she's an owl, we determined, because then you're like, oh, it's an owl.
yeah, I guess the exception would be an actual owl.
Well, if I'm ever an owl, I'll go like this. So you'll know.
Warmothe?
So you wanted to keep your bond secret, right?
My bond was secret.
Okay, so we'll keep that secret for the moment. But what's your bond, Crispin?
Well, he's not present.
Okay.
But the spirit spoke to me of a grave danger that follows Jax.
Oh, okay. That might come into play right now. Okay. Okay. That kind of fits. Yeah. Okay. So Phil Coates, so tell us about yourself.
I can't read what my last name is. I forget. It was something funny, and I changed it to
It's
something
on
not
the
funny.
bottom.
Yeah. It's River Bottom now, which doesn't make any sense. Anyway, my name is Philco Riverbottom, and I need my sheet back so I can tell everybody else my name. I'm a neutral halfling thief. I have shifty eyes, messy hair, except it's pulled back in a ponytail on this figure. Common clothes, and a knobby body, because it's actually the best. It's the nicest choice they gave me out of the three. So I'll go with knobby. I stole something from everyone. Well, no, I guess I stole something from you, just to prove to you that I got what it takes.
So do you still have it, or do you just do it just to?
I just sort of do it to, like, show them that I can steal something from you, so don't worry about it.
Do they know about it?
So
Well, I
don't
show
worry.
it to them.
Oh, I see. I
see.
see.
So if they ask me anything,
Oh,
I
okay.
give them back,
Okay.
like, you know, like the old watch. You know,
Right.
magician takes your watch.
So now your bond is kind of a temporary thing. So if you feel that your bond becomes resolved, you can always make a new bond with another character, and you can just make up whatever you want. If something happens in game, and you feel that your other bond is resolved, and you want to make a new one, you can just make a new one, because once you resolve a bond, you actually get an experience point. So it can be worth working it in. You can work it into the story however you want. So it's kind of worth working it into the game, just so you can get an experience point. Also, if you do something with something significant with your alignment, you will get an experience point also.
Since I'm neutral, if I just don't do anything, is that?
But what's for your alignment? What's it say?
Avoid detection or infiltrate a location.
Okay, so
I
yeah,
didn't ever
so
actually
you can
read
do
that.
it
I
if
didn't know there was something.
So if you successfully infiltrate something like a location would be hard to infiltrate, that would count. You know,
Mine says
sneaking in someone's
eliminate-
house isn't going to count as
Right.
infiltrating it.
What do you get for it?
That experience point.
Mine says eliminate an unnatural menace.
Okay, so something. No, you're an unnatural menace.
Oh, I
Yeah, that's
thought
what it says. Unnatural.
Oh, does it?
Unnatural menace. Yeah.
So something that something in your lands that you guard, if something is causing problems in those areas, if you get rid of it, you will get an experience point. Yeah.
Didn't we do that last time?
Probably why you gotta
Maybe.
get like 50,000 experience.
Why did I have so many experience points?
I think maybe because you got a lot of failures.
You get an experience point if you
You get an experience point for every failure.
That explains it. I'm gonna be like level
Every 6 or
85.
less you get an experience point.
How do I keep track of those?
You just write them down in your experience point.
Oh, I see.
Right there. And you guys are level 1, so if you want to write that, you can. You know, you'll see you're level 1. Okay, Neem, is that how I pronounce it?
Neve.
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 Yes.
Okay, so I'm Neve Dark.
Oh, nice.
I have deep eyes, very dark, deep eyes, and flowing hair. It's fabulous. Fabulous flowing hair. None of these things describe my culture, so I'm not choosing them because do I have to? Because I'm not wearing a torn gown. Seriously.
Oh, well, you can write in what you want.
Excellent. I'm wearing
Yeah.
a fabulous long flowing robe made in Paris because it's fabulous. No, not really. Made in whatever the D&D world of Paris is. We're gonna make it there. And I carry a big old staff for some non-apparent reason. I have no. I
That was
like
a
it.
big staff.
Do you wear dark clothes? Like a dark dress?
Well, this looks dark blue,
Okay.
like the shadows.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Helps me blend. And I have. Let's see. What else do I need to tell you? I'm rather tall and stately, but not towering exactly. I don't think that would be described as towering.
Right.
And if I find an elemental font and draw power from it, that would be part of my alignment. Since I'm neutrally aligned, I am a human. And I need to learn to control my temper from guitar.
Why? What does guitar do?
Well, I mean, he just kind of helps me center myself and calm the fuck down when people piss me off because I have these issues with kind of anger and darkness and so long ago I witnessed something in the dark that I shouldn't have seen and I've been running from that ever since because I can see in the dark.
Cool.
So
Neat.
yeah, and y'all are I guess my new best friends. Crispin's over there like, oh my! Okay,
All right, guitar.
guitar!
I am Gertard McJames. I have hard eyes, wild hair, callous skin, and a built body. I am neutral, and I am human. I have sworn to protect Neve for some strange reason.
Why?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
It's got nice dams.
She's a
I'll
handful.
protect
All
that.
that leg. You can just hang
Um,
on to one of the legs. It's okay.
I'm wearing scale armor, and I am carrying a shield, and I have some gauntlets that I wear that are very precious to me. They have the gauntlets on the sides, they have blades, like metal blades that come out. So when I'm fighting, I can use them to rip people, like slice them open, rip them open. So I have those on both of my gauntlets.
We need this.
We need you.
That's fantastic. You're hired.
And then on my knuckles, I have spikes and hooks. So I have hooks that come out and spikes. So I can
Mike had a
Hit.
loincloth.
no, I have still armor and shield and that.
So yeah, we need.
Mike had a loincloth and a lot of rage.
Anger issues.
Maybe he was angry because he was in a loincloth.
No, that was the only happy part of his life.
He was cranky and cold.
So my overall look is very ancient, and I have close ties with my past and my family, and so it shows in my armors and my gauntlets. It's not over embellished or sinister looking.
So do your those spikes always out, or the blades always out, or they pop out?
They're always out
Okay.
because they're part of my gauntlets.
Okay. I was saying, so like if we ever got there, if they folded in,
Yeah,
if
they're
we ever
always
got taken away or taken all our weapons away, you can sneak those in.
The
I
Wolverine.
don't think they're allowed to, since I'm human. I can't, because I asked him if I could have it, like people put those spikes in their
Mm.
crazy stuff. But
Yeah.
can't happen, so it has to be on the gauntlet.
Mr. Rule person.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm a fighter, and that's about it.
Cool.
Meat shield.
Okay, well,
We take our meat shield seriously.
I'm
As in,
starting.
get in there, meat shield.
so the world has been relatively peaceful, but unfortunately, you two came in at a really bad time. And everything has gone to shit. So, so yeah. So here's actually a map of Volusia. Okay, you guys are at Kingsport, the capital. Okay. Earlier in your adventure, you went to Aragon, and that was the town, the mining town, or the lumberjack town where just before the Dread Mountains, and that's where you guys went into to find the Sakharan ruins that you went into, the cavern.
Yeah, that
Okay.
confusing cavern.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you came down from the mountains, you went back to Kingsport, and that's where you were captured.
We were captured.
Yes, yes. I'll go over a little bit.
God.
You'll edit this out, right? The whole confusion, like, where were we?
So the world has been relatively peaceful. The way things are set up is hero adventure bands protect the weak. Okay, so they're kind of like the rock stars of the world. So adventure bands, everybody, every kid wants to grow up and be an adventurer, but of course few do. Because most people depend on those adventurers to protect them, or the king, who's actually a very good king. But the world has been relatively peaceful. The races are at peace. The orcs come down occasionally from the Dread Mountains to raid, but they're too afraid of the king and his powers and the adventuring guilds to do too much damage. They'll raid a little bit and come back and retreat back to the mountains. There are also the ice lords, which are giants who live in the mountains, and they'll come down occasionally to raid, but they're the same way. They don't get too brave because they're afraid of the adventuring guilds and groups. So Kingsport is a thriving place for where these adventure groups meet. So you all had started out in Kingsport because you went there as you're starting your adventuring career, all right? And you actually got a job working for the Galstaff family, okay? And they asked you to go find the Red Riders because something has happened, and they needed to summon the Red Riders who were an adventuring guild. And the leader of the Red Riders was Galstaff's son. His name was Trebane. And so you were looking for him. So they sent you, but you didn't know where he went. So you guys were trying to find him, and you went into a inn that was an upscale inn for adventurers. And so you managed to talk to the bartender, and he did confide in you that he had a problem with rats that had come up from the sewers behind the inn.
Was this the last game? This seems like a
The-
game we
the-
played
Forever
a year
ago.
ago.
This was
Yeah.
the last game, yeah.
Jeez. I remember all this now. It's like, sorry.
So,
Cut.
so you were looking for Barina, who is a ranger, who said she would help the innkeeper to this rat problem. So she went down the sewers trying to help the innkeeper. Now, the town of Kingsport is so clean and it's so well maintained that the sewers even have like a flowery smell. Like they use magic to make the sewers not even smell as bad as they would smell if they were just regular sewers, right? So the place is pretty amazing. You know, they have lights that are, you know, magical lights that light the streets. You know, almost like modern street lights, and so it's a pretty amazing place. But so you guys go down the sewer. You're after her, trying to find her, and you're surprised that the sewers don't smell like they should. So you do find her, and she's kind of in a tricky situation. The wall, one of the walls of the sewer wall is cracked, and she's leaning up against it with a shield, and she's apparently blocking a gap in the wall. And there are several rat-like creatures laying around her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you showed up. These rat creatures were pouring in from this crack in the wall, and they usually don't come up except for the lower depths of the catacombs. There's catacombs all over, all underneath Kingsport. There's old crypts, there's sea caves, there's all kinds of like labyrinthine areas underneath the city. So anyways, the sewer, you're in the sewer, and she's saying that something must have caused these things to come up from the lower depths of the sewer. So you guys fight she's like, okay, I'm going to let go of the shield, you guys are going to fight them, and then we're going to, you know, then I'll tell you what you need to know. So that was kind of her deal with you. So you guys help her out, slay those things. They stop coming out of the wall. So she tells you where the Red Riders have gone. They've gone to the Dread Mountains. There's a ruin that's been found called the Sakharin Ruins. And these are dotted throughout the land, you realize, or you remember that the Sakharin ruins are an ancient race of people that used to live in the land, and they're kind of the forebearers of man, the men of the land, men and women, and they had miraculous powers, like they could do all kinds of magic, and we just had a really amazing civilization, but somehow it just crumbled. Like their civilization is lost to time, but there are these pockets of these Sakharin ruins that people seek out because there's these things called bloodstones, which glow red. They're like these stones that glow red, and you can get, if people meld with the stones, they can get some amazing powers. Like something happens, like they can have visions, they can get some kind of magical power, so they're really sought after, they're really worth a lot of money. So if anybody finds a Sakharin ruin, then adventurers are always there trying to pillage it or find out if there's any bloodstones in there, because they're worth a lot of money. So you guys take off, you head to Aragon, which is a small town just before the Dread Mountains, and it's a lumbering town, and so you get there, and you find out that some lumberjacks have not come back yet. It's near the evening, and some lumberjacks have not come back. You also met another group of adventurers on the way there called the Golem Smashers, and the Golem Smashers are a well-known group of adventurers, and they wave you, and you guys are little peons, and they're famous heroes. They wave you, and they've got all their finery and their magnificent horses and their gleaming weapons, and you're kind of in awe of them. So you get to the town, and it's the evening, and they tell you about the people who didn't come back. I think you guys set out early in the morning to find them, right? Was that right? Okay. So meanwhile, you kind of rest up and have a meal, and a famous bard comes in and sings a song, horribly I might say, that I recited, but it was like, yeah, sorry about that.
That's right.
So
Did I run home and grab something from the house and he was still reciting it?
I'll try not to do that again. So it's a song of the seven, which are the most famous adventurers in the land. Like everybody knows who they are. So he sings a song about them. And
Is that Everhart? I have Everhart the Bard written down here.
yes, it is. It's
Yeah,
Everhart the
okay.
Bard. Yes, Everhart the Bard sings this tale of the seven. And so you hear that, and then the early next morning, you set off into the mountains. You encounter the orcs who captured the lumberjacks, and they were kind of taunting them and teasing them. You guys sneak into the camp, just decimate those poor orcs. Then you head further up into the mountains, the trail that the dwarf you met in the bar told you about. He was the one that actually found the ruins and told the seven about it, or told the Red Riders about it. So you get up there and you find the Red Riders' horses. They're sitting there outside of this, and it's like a large stone that's been moved from the entrance. So you go in, and there's a pit shortly in the entrance, and the Red Riders made like a pinioned a rope from one side to the other, so it was fairly easy to get to the other side. So the cavern split off into two ways. There was one way and another way. So you went to the right, and the right had like an underground river that you could see. The cavern opened into an underground river, and there was an area that looked like maybe some creatures had been staying there. And you were thinking they might have been gnashers, which are like kind of fish-like creatures that live underground. So you end up going the other way, and there's a tube that goes straight down about 20 feet, and there's no handholds or anything in the tube, but there was a rope that the previous group had left. So you climb down, and you find what looks like the Red Riders, and they're dead. And there are a few like spider-like creatures laying on the ground. And these spider-like creatures are kind of humanoidish, but they're like humanoidish spiders. They have black carapaces. You can see like purple veins under their black skin, and just a kind of a nightmare conglomeration of what a person and a spider might be combined together. So it turns out one of these things is crawling on the ceiling, and it drops down and attacks. You guys dispatch it, and then you do notice that there is a glowing red stone in the far wall of the chamber. And the chamber is fairly large, but it's made of this strange material. Like, you're not sure what it is, but it's like a black, shiny kind of material. And there are what looks like slabs or beds coming out of the side of the walls and just suspended, like they're coming straight out of the wall, made out of this black material, like this shiny black material. So it's nothing you've ever seen before or encountered before. So as you head towards the stone, you also notice that looks like some chambers, or maybe nests or something, opened up. The walls opened up, and maybe that's where these things came out of. Who knows how long they've been down here? It might have been thousands of years. You know, the Sakharans haven't been here for thousands of years, so they may have been here for that long, you know, in those chambers, which seems unlikely, but there you go. So as you approach the wall, there's a tremendous earthquake, and the cavern starts violently shaking, and as Philco grabs the stone in the wall caves in, and the river that they had seen in the other cavern runs through behind the wall of this one too. And so he falls into the water and is rushing down, you know, a la Goonies, you know, down the chute. And Crispin turns into a fish, right? Turns into a fish, leaps in the water after him. Right?
I turned into something.
Okay, some kind of aquatic something. So she jumps in the water after him.
A duck.
Of course, Mike's character, who's Mike's character?
Gorm.
Gorm. He jumps in after too.
Just cause.
And as he's flying the chute down, there's some more violent shaking, and a rock slide blocks the tube that they were going down, so he
Philco
can't go
went
down there.
too.
Huh?
They both got
So the
through.
two of them went down the tube. You two went down the tube, and my character gets blocked. So the water's kind of pushing him back up, so he swims back up, and comes in the chamber, and then water's starting to come in the chamber. So you guys decide that you got to get out of there. So you go back up the tube, and you think, well, maybe we can get them through the other river that's in the other chamber of the cave. So they go back through. Now they do find, when they go back through, some evidence that looks like there might have been slaves held in this cave at one time. Also, they find a secret area where the wall opens up, and they find a secret area that has these strange collars, these strange black collars that are like, they seem to be made out of that same black material that is like the other room was made out of. And they also realized that when they came up through the tube, that there's a lot of cave-in areas of the cave that the air, because they were in that chamber, that probably saved their lives because it didn't collapse. Like the end of it collapsed, but the whole chamber itself didn't collapse in. So there are some areas that have collapsed in the cavern part, the rest of the cavern part. So anyways, so Crispin and Philco have a little bit of battle. They meet some of those fish people. They have a little bit of battle. Go down further down the chute, end up in an orc cavern, and the orc cavern is strange because there are signs of orcs have recently been in there, but there's no orcs in the cave. So they're looking around, kind of sneaking around, and there's put out fires and stuff, but there's no. So they've just been here, but they're not there right now. So, which is lucky for them because the whole tribe's not there. So they figure out that the whole tribe is outside on the mountain, and they're looking down from the mountains, and they can see Kingsport. Okay, so Kingsport is the capital where you came from. You can see Kingsport, and there's smoke rising from Kingsport. Now it doesn't look like Kingsport is totally destroyed, but something looks like it's going on, like something major looks like it's happened. So they're all gawking at that. But the main thing they're gawking at is to the east of Kingsport is some kind of tower that has just appeared on the landscape. It looks like it pierced into the ground like a dagger, and is actually cracked the ground like something, like it dropped from the sky and slammed into the ground, and the ground is all cracked and everything around it. And another weird thing about the tower is it's black. It's that same deep black of this whatever material, and there's plumes of smoke just pouring from this thing. Like it doesn't look like there's fire on it, but it looks like there's tubes coming up from the top of the tower like this, and smoke is just pouring out of it, like into the atmosphere. So very strange. So the group decides they better go back to Kingsport and see what's going on. So they head down out of the mountains. They hit the road, but they're ready to go off the road at any time if something happens. They do find a destroyed farm and a little girl who's won't speak. She apparently witnessed something horrible, and her cottage is destroyed, and they take her with them. And they get to a bridge near Kingsport, and they find some of the Golem Smasher adventurers dead, and they find the leader of the Golem Smashers laying near the riverbed. His horse is crushed. There's these strange footprints. They're circular footprints, but they're like something giant must have made, like tree size. Something tree size must have made these. And so whatever it was just smashed, smashed the Golem Smasher. So the leader's laying there dead. They did find some magic weapons. The Red Riders had some magic weapons that they picked up, and Mike's character grabbed this mace that was, he grabbed the mace from the orc, the body of the orc, half orc in the cave, I think. But it was a smasher, and he hit the when he fought the war chief of the orcs, and that's how you guys got.
Oh, that's right.
I say all that. So he challenged the orc war chief when they came out of the cave, and he beat him, and that's how they got past the orcs. Sorry about that, I missed that. So all this has happened. So they get near Kingsport, and it's strange. There's smoke rising from Kingsport, but it's obviously not destroyed. All the walls are intact. You know, if it got attacked, the damage is maybe not that bad. So there's still some farmers out doing their fields around Kingsport, and they talk to them, and they don't really have much information except that these spider creatures attacked, and the spider creatures haven't molested them, like they haven't attacked. Everybody's terrified around the city, outside of the city, the farmers, but they haven't been attacked or anything, so they're just kind of hunkering down, doing what they have to do. And so they agreed to take the little girl that you guys have found, the family. So you guys head towards Kingport, and the main gate is up, the portcullis is pulled up, no guards around, nobody around. So they walk into the main gate, and the portcullis slams down, and all of a sudden dozens of these spider creatures come crawling over the walls. So they're getting their weapons ready, they're ready to fight, and a shadow comes over them. And they look up, and there's this large barge actually flying, hovering in the sky above them. And some dark shape points down at them with a staff, and a blast of darkness comes down, and they lose consciousness.
Darkness.
Yeah.
That's what the locals were.
So this blast of darkness comes down, you lose consciousness.
Is this where we ended it then?
Well, you did wake up. Susan swears you didn't, but I say do.
So I don't remember that part. So
We did not.
I think
You did not
this
tell
is
us
probably a
about
time
waking
when
up.
you'll see about 9 or maybe 10, 15 children.
Really?
I'm not a night person.
No, she's not.
I'm not.
No, she's not. Okay, so that's
That won't stop us.
that's what's happened so far. Do you guys remember that stuff?
I remember almost up to, I don't remember
The gate?
Sorry.
I don't remember the beam and us.
Okay, that was the very last thing
Either
that
happens
happened.
to be-
That was the very last thing that happened.
Good,